everybody. This is your favorite pal, Chuck E. Cheese here. And we've got a special guest here. His name's Little Billy, and it's his 9th birthday. Say hi, Little Billy. We've got an awesome rap for you here. When I say happy, you say birthday. Happy. Happy. When I say pizza, you say yum yum. Pizza. Pizza. When I say Charlottesville, you say neo-Nazi. Charlottesville. Neo-Nazis. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Retro Hero Podcast. Thank you for listening to our utter bullshit there.
If you're a neo-Nazi, fuck you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much. We're gonna stand very strong on that.
You don't get any pizza from Chuck E. Cheese.
No, you do
if you're
not.
A fucking neo-Nazi.
No,
you don't get shit.
Nothing. But anyways, my name is John, and my sexy co-host sitting next to me is your favorite retro hero, Brad. Say what up, homie. And this is episode 4, A New Hope, because we're hoping that we might actually get more than 4 people listening to this podcast.
A new hope that we'll have more than 4 listeners.
That would be great. That would be great.
So yeah, if you're listening and you're one of those 4, thanks.
And if you're wondering about that really fucked up intro, there's actually some meaning to that. We're going to actually discuss a little bit about Chuck E. Cheese here a little bit down the road. There's some saddening news.
Yep. Cardboard pizza and fucking dirty bathrooms.
And syringes in the ball pit.
Yep. Ball pit syringes.
Or actually,
good old time at Chuck E. Cheese.
a used diiper in the ball pit.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard stories about that. That's pretty fucking awesome.
Dead bodies.
But
in the ball pit.
this is even sadder than that. It's even sadder. And we'll get to that. Yes. We'll get you there. That's just our little tease there. But thank you for listening. And if this isn't your first time here, and you've been listening to us, why don't you give us some fucking money?
Yeah, patreon.com/retrohero. You'll be able to give us all of your money that's just sitting there being unused, because I know you're not using it. So.
Just look under the couch. I'm guarantee you there's probably at least $1 and some change there. And just fucking send it our way. Come on. We might need to get a Venmo account too. Maybe. I don't know. That's like direct deposits.
A what account?
You never heard of Venmo?
I have not.
It's like an app where you just you're like, bitch, you owe me money. And then they're like, all right, I'll just give it to you. Damn. It's like you directly send it to their bank account. Like it's like,
damn.
It's new shit.
Or you can just give us a Bitcoin. That'd be nice.
Yeah, Bitcoins are what are they, like $4,000 now?
Just one Bitcoin. That's all we need, just one.
Yeah, just one Bitcoin will do. But yeah, there's other ways you could get to us. We're on the Fossbooks. Fossbook.com/RetroHeroPodcast. We are sort of on Twitter. We've opened an account.
The Twitter at this point is just linked to everything else. So whenever we post something somewhere else, it goes to Twitter automatically. That's the extent of our Twitter usage right now. Really, the party's on Facebook.
It's on the Fossbooks for sure. And we're also on the YouTubes.
Yep.
We are on the series of tubes.
We're getting there. We're trying to get some more content up for y'all.
Yeah, we just did a pretty sick Sonic Mania.
Oh yeah,
little
Sonic
live
Mania
stream.
is awesome. We'll get to that later as well.
Yeah, we will. And then if you really want to get in contact with us, we have an email address, because that's what all cool fucking people have is email addresses. It's retroheropodcast@gmail.com.
Anything goes, man. Anything goes on the Gmail. The Facebook, you gotta restrain. You can't post anything. But when it comes to the Gmail,
yes,
anything's allowed.
Anything. Well, hey, Brad. I mean, it has been a while. It's partially my fault, but
3 weeks since our last episode. We're sorry for the delay, but there was good reason.
Yeah, my parents came into town. I wanted to show them a good time, especially over the weekend. That's when we try and shoot these podcasts. So I'm sorry, for the 3 people that were just sitting back and just really waiting for that next episode. I'm sorry you had to wait a little bit.
Just spamming F5 on their browsers, waiting for it to refresh, waiting for that hot new episode.
But anyways, other than that, like me spending time showing my family all the gentrification of Portland.
How was it? What'd your parents think about Portland? I know your dad's been here before, but it was your mom's first time, right?
Yeah, they were one of the main things. They're like, oh my God, there's so many fucking homeless people here. I was like, yeah. And they were like worried. They were like wanting to cross the streets and stuff to like avoid them. I'm like, Mom, just walk by. Don't make eye contact and everything's going to be okay. And they were just freaking out. I'm like, okay, Mom, but that's just how it is,
They don't even know you're walking by unless you have like meth on you or something. Then they'll get you'll get their attention.
Oh yeah, there was like a lady dancing in the street,
nice.
Totally on meth.
Yeah, I was
She was waving her purse around, and my mom's like, should we go to the other side of the street? I'm just like, nah, Mom, I'm going.
What the fuck are they gonna do, man? What are they gonna do to you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was great. I was downtown last week. John and I both kind of go out and work downtown sometimes, and I saw my first homeless fight downtown. It was great. Yeah, this.
So you saw bum fights and you didn't have to pay for it, huh?
I did not pay
Wow.
for it. There was no fists were thrown, but it was good. So yeah, this guy just came up and stole this chick's sleeping bag and started walking away. And she did not like it. She chased that dude for a good few blocks, and I was loving it. They were cursing the storm at each other, and it was great. It was great. I was like, man, must be nice. That's the extent of the drama in your life, you know?
When you see bums fighting over a sleeping bag, yeah. It doesn't get much better than that.
It does not. So
America.
yeah, come to Portland if you want to see bums fighting all the time. That's the real draw to this city.
So what else have you been doing in the free time, Brad?
Oh, man, what have I been doing? Definitely rewatching some Game of Thrones. Finally caught up to the current episodes. So I've watched the new season like 4 times already.
Yeah,
But,
I've rewatched a lot of the new season's episodes. I've watched them at least 2 or 3 times before the next episode comes out.
Yeah, aside from that, man, kind of gearing up for the tomorrow's the Great American Eclipse.
Oh no!
So yeah, here in Portland, I think they estimated over 1 million people. In addition to the already terrible traffic we have, there's a million extra motherfuckers here clogging up the roads. I thought it'd be worse than it is, honestly, but everyone's down south right now, so Portland is kind of weird. It's really quiet around here right now.
Yeah, but
that's going to change tomorrow when everyone's coming back.
Yeah, I'm afraid after that, that whole 2.5 minutes or whatever that they spend thousands of dollars, going across the country, spending $1,000 to stay at a hotel in Seaside, and they're just for 3 minutes.
If it's not cloudy, which it might be. So
it might be, and that would be awesome.
Oh, the irony.
But yeah, it's gonna be fucking terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've always wanted to see a full eclipse, and I'm a little excited to watch it. I'm excited to see how dark it gets and all that shit. We'll see if any like crazy sacrifices get made or
I'm gonna
gods awaken.
I'm gonna slit the throat of a goat. Like at the moment when it becomes 100% eclipsed, and
Peak power, man.
I'm gonna give it to my boy Chucky.
Yeah,
Chuck E. Cheese.
Man,
yeah.
Thanks,
I'm
Chucky.
gonna sacrifice a goat in his honor.
Thanks for all the terrible pizza and shitty arcade games, Chucky. Here's a dead goat.
Hey, man, there was actually some decent arcade games at Chuck E. Cheese, at least the one I went to.
Back in the day, there was. Nowadays, like when I take my kid there, it's like just fucking ticket games or Fruit Ninja or some shit.
Oh, no. Yeah, see, like for me, it was like in the 90s. I remember like Turtles in Time.
Yeah.
I remember there was like a lot of good beat-em-ups. That's like the one thing I really remember was like the 4-player beat-em-ups, like an X-Men one. I think there was Bucky O'Hare.
They slowly went to the shitty ticket games though over time.
Oh, yeah.
Most arcade games did because that's where you made.
They're trying to be money. Like Dave and Buster's, basically.
That's where you made the money on those fucking tickets.
Well, I haven't been into a Chuck E. Cheese in probably well over 15 years, maybe 20 years.
Wow.
It might have been 20 years since I was like, I'm 29. I probably was 9 years old the last time I was in a Chuck E. Cheese.
Well, unfortunately, when you have kids, they want to go for some reason. And I've been there many times over the last 10 years or so. And
is the carpet always still sticky?
It's pretty much how I remember it. I mean, they don't have a lot of the ball pits and shit like they used to, but it's all the shit games that no one wants to play. But kids fucking drop quarters so they can get tickets to buy the fucking dollar store toy.
Yeah. Snoop! Shut up! Anyways. Oh, you'll actually see Snoop if you heard that meow, but you'll see Snoop in our latest live stream of Sonic Mania.
The official Retro Hero mascot.
Yeah. I thought Chewie was the official mascot.
We got a few. There's a few official mascots.
Chewie! Anyways. Yeah, so Game of Thrones. What do you Game of Thrones is tonight. What are you expecting?
Oh, fuck. So yeah,
the
just for reference, tonight is season 7, episode 6. So it's the one before the last. This is when Jon Snow and all the Avengers of Westeros are heading north beyond the wall. I love that group of dudes, man.
Oh yeah,
like,
Tormund, the Hound, Jorah.
Yep. It's to me like when I first saw that and I first saw them going north, I was like, dude, I want to play an RPG where that's my fucking party and I'm going north.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be. I mean, if they made imagine like a Witcher type game in the Game of Thrones universe, man, it would just fucking work so well.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I do remember reading something on the internet. It might have been fake news, But
you're wrong.
It might have been fake news.
Fake news.
But
wrong.
I was told that Skyrim was originally supposed to be a Game of Thrones. They were trying to get them to do a Game of Thrones game before Skyrim came out, and that's why I like.
Damn.
It's very similar, you know. The atmosphere of the game.
Definitely.
But,
that would have been interesting. I mean, we were talking last week about different Game of Thrones crossovers. Remember, we were talking about a Fire Emblem Game of Thrones crossover we were talking about?
I would love that. Like,
could you imagine that?
16-bit, where you're just like, you know, you do like the Battle of the Bastards. You do.
Fuck yeah, man. See, in my mind, you would pick one of the houses. Like, you'd pick Stark or Targaryen. And then, like, you know, there'd be 4 or 5 different storylines. Of course, they would all meet eventually. But I think that would be a fucking awesome crossover. It'll never happen. But
it'll never happen. No.
A straight-up Fire Emblem game with all the anime characters and graphics, but with the Game of Thrones lore.
Wait a second. You do know George R.R. Martin is actually one of the few people that listens to this podcast?
Yeah.
When I mentioned the 4 people that listen to this, George R.R. Martin's actually one of them. And
hey,
he's
George,
a big fan.
Hit us up on Patreon, man. I know you're fucking listening to this.
Keep writing, too, man.
Well...
Keep up the writing, bro.
Before you write, go to patreon.com/retrohero and drop, a few thousand. I know you got it.
He could spare it. But, so, George, if you're listening, other than the Patreon, give us the rights to Game of Thrones for a video game, and we'll fucking knock it out of the park.
And then get back to writing fucking book 6, because I'm fucking tired of waiting.
Yeah. Love you, George. Anyways, so what are you expecting in the next episode, though?
Fuck, man, I think someone's gonna die. I'm not sure who or how, but it's been a while since we've had a good, like, vicious, gut-wrenching death, and I think tonight we're gonna get one. I think it's gonna be a great episode. Hopefully it's a little longer. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna all take place north of the Wall. I mean, obviously they might cut to Winterfell or some other shit here and there, but man, I'm fucking excited to see what happens. Maybe we'll see a dragon get turned into a White Walker.
That would be fucking crazy. That would be so crazy. By the way, we know there was the leaks and everything, but Brad and I are trying to be loyal and waiting our time and not just watching all these leaks and stuff that were happening.
We'll be patient. It's like a Sunday tradition at this point. I don't want to fucking watch it on some shitty torrent or stream before it comes out. I can wait. I'm a good boy sometimes.
I'm just saying, though, if Littlefinger gets killed, I'm gonna boycott the show. He has to make it to season 8. He has to.
You think?
I want him to. I don't think, but I want him to.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like Littlefinger. He got a little boring for a while, but now he's starting to get all maniacal and fucking planning and plotting again. Arya thought she was smooth as fuck trying to get into his room and
he did that shit
sneak a peek at that fucking scroll, but he knew. He knew.
Yeah.
You can't play the motherfucking master of playing.
Nah, yeah. Sorry, you're Arya. You're like 9 years old or whatever she is. It's like you ain't gonna play Littlefinger.
You spent all that time fucking training and shit. You should be a little better than that by now. I mean, the waif snuck up on you and fucking stabbed you a few times. You should be better than that right now. You should be better.
So enough Game of Thrones, because we might have to call ourselves Game of Thrones.
Yeah, this is the Retro Hero Game of Thrones podcast now.
That was enough of that. Enough of that shit. But so what games have you been playing in your free time?
Well, I've been still been playing Earthbound. We'll get to that here in a sec. I'll detail that a little more. But yesterday I picked up Sonic Mania, and fuck, man, it's blowing all my expectations out of the water. We've been wanting a good Sonic game for fucking 20 years now. Good 2D Sonic game since the 90s, and
I mean,
here we are. We have one.
Yeah,
it's 2017, and there's a good 2D Sonic game. What the fuck?
The Sonic Advance games were decent, but
Nazis are back in the news. Fucking
what year
Sonic's
is it?
Back. What the fuck year is this?
Yeah, it's 1995 all over again.
Fucking Nazis.
Oh man, let's not talk about Nazis right now.
Unless
we're talking about Wolfenstein.
Yeah, if you want to get some frustration out and watch us kill Nazis for you, we're gonna continue our Wolfenstein Let's Plays. So stay tuned for that. Watch us kill Nazis with fucking extreme prejudice.
An array of assortment of weapons.
Yep, weapons, knives, bullets, fucking bombs, mines, whatever we can throw at them.
It'll be great.
They deserve it.
It'll be great. But yeah, Sonic Mania, just amazing. Blew my expectations way out of the water. You hear Sonic and you're just like, oh, how are they gonna fuck this up again? But I guess this was like a fan made project with getting the rights to the Sonic franchise, because it's not. I don't think this was seriously like developed.
No. It was a fan project. Sega kind of took it under its wing and published it and gave them all the rights to do whatever they want with it, I guess. But man, I feel like if it took that to get a good Sonic game, I'm open for fan-made projects. So
I mean, it's definitely a love song to Sonic 2.
I love the animated intro, man. You can go look at it on YouTube. It's a throwback to the old cartoon and just all the old 90s old school Sonic shit that we grew up on, so it's pretty cool.
But what I really like about the game and like the story mode is you get Act 1 and it's kind of like a throwback. They throw in a little stuff, but you're like, oh, this is familiar. This is Sonic 2 or Sonic 1. This feels familiar.
Green Hill Zone is the very first one you play, for example.
And then Act 2, though, they're like, well, let's just throw in something crazy. So Green Hill Zone, like you referenced, they have zip lining and stuff. It's like, holy shit.
I also like how in the Act 2 they kind of remix the music a little bit. The first act is kind of the traditional, soundtrack music from the old games, but the Act 2 they kind of throw in some remix shit. So I love it, man. I love fan-made projects, especially you can just tell it was made with passion and love for Sonic.
Yeah, it's relieving to know that Sonic is relevant
and
again.
The fact that it's $20, man, you can't beat that. It's a perfect Switch game. I can take it. It's like having a fucking modern Game Gear essentially with you now, and you can take it around and there's fucking good multiplayer modes. I mean, we haven't gotten too much into multiplayer on it yet, but yeah, keep an eye on YouTube as well for that. We're gonna be putting some Sonic Mania shit up as well. I was never a huge Sonic player as a kid. I mean, I always liked Sonic. I watched the cartoon. I had some of the comics. I had the shitty Tiger Electronic game of Sonic.
I had one.
But, I never owned a Genesis, and none of my friends did, so I never really got to play those old core Sonic games until I was a little older. Sonic Adventure 2 was actually one of my first actual Sonic games I beat. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool going back and it's almost like the first time I'm playing a little bit, it's because I didn't play a lot of Sonic 2 or 3. And
yeah, I mean, it was kind of the same for me. I never owned a Genesis, but my friend down the street did. So I was a Nintendo kid. He was the Genesis kid. He's like,
Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Exactly. And it's just like, oh, fuck you, kid. All you have is Sonic and Vector Man. I've got every freaking Nintendo game, under the sun.
Well, what other Genesis games were there?
Yeah, Vector Man. You had Echo the Dolphin.
Yeah, Echo. Altered Beast.
Altered Beast, yeah. There was Gunstar Heroes is actually pretty good. Gunstar Heroes is pretty good. But in general, I mean, I just don't think Genesis won that battle.
The Master System.
Yeah. It was the master of none. But, man, I went there. Sorry. There's probably some Sega fan that might listen to this and he's going to be like, fuck you, man.
That's why Nintendo's still making hardware and Sega's only making software.
Yeah. Dreamcast is underrated. Rest in peace, bud.
Rest in peace, homie. Dreamcast. We'll pour one out for you.
But yeah, so it was pretty cool just to kind of get that feeling again because just Sonic's been irrelevant for so long. And now this is the first time where I feel like Sonic makes sense. It's not this BS crap with Sonic Boom and all that was just such a big bomb.
And when Sonic is done right, it's some of the best platforming out there, man. When it's done right.
And that's what I like about this too is like this one. A lot of the times the traditional Sonics, the 2D ones, were very. You had one path. You're always like going right, and in this one, they turn it around on you. You start going left, start going right, start up, level down, and there's multiple paths.
Yeah, the level design's a lot more elaborate, and I like that.
It was kind of like in old Sonics, it was the faster you beat the level, the more likely you were to get that bonus stage. But here, it's like they almost recommend you exploring the levels because that's where the secret bonus level, that big ring is that gets you to the bonus level.
Just by the way, I got a lot better at those bonus levels last night.
Did you?
Yeah, I practiced. I was bad at first, but I finally got the hang of them. So yeah.
Now that you know you could jump, yeah, okay, cool. As long as we know that. But so if you haven't checked it out, haven't heard about it, or this is first time, whatever. Pick up Sonic
Support
Mania.
them because the more we buy these games, the more 2D Sonic games we'll get in the future, man.
It's on PS4 as well. It's not just a Switch. I don't know if it's on Microsoft.
I believe it is. I believe it's on all consoles, on Steam as well. I think the Switch is the best home for it, though.
Yeah. So
take it to go.
Whatever. Either way, there's some platform that you're going to be able to play the game. Just get it. It'll be one of the best $20 you spent on a video game in a long time.
Fuck yeah. So, John, you want to feel really fucking old right now?
Not really, but I mean, I guess you're just going to do it anyway.
So, we have another friend celebrating a birthday. Fucking James Bond.
Oh, James, huh?
James Bond, Goldeneye. The game, not the movie. The movie's already turned 20, I believe, but the game turns 20.
Oh, man.
This next week, I believe.
How old does that make you feel, man?
Well, fuck. I got 2 kids and all that shit, so I feel old every day. But Sonic, I'm sorry, Goldeneye.
Sonic.
Fuck. Still got that in my mind on Sonic. But Goldeneye, man, fuck. It's my favorite Bond movie. And it's just a fucking great game, man. Like, what?
It really is your favorite Bond movie?
Yes. Yes. Goldeneye is the movie that made me want to make movies as a kid.
Wow.
Honestly, yes.
That's high praise. I would have thought it would have been something else like Lord of the Rings or...
By the time I saw Lord of the Rings, that was kind of something I
hooked.
already wanted to do. But to me, like when I was younger, Goldeneye, Army of Darkness was another big one. But those movies like were the original inspirations for me to want to make my own movies. Goldeneye, I don't know what it was about Goldeneye, man. There's so many things about it. The nostalgia hits hard. I mean, I wouldn't really say it's the best Bond movie. And I also love Moonraker and some of the older ones, but it's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's just got the right blend of nostalgia and fucking. It's a good movie too. It's the best Brosnan Bond. I mean, you can say that with confidence.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you there, but
I just love the Russian setting, and it's. Fucking Russians, man. They're always
like
evil. Always
the
want to blow us
hackers.
up.
They're like,
Fucking Boris Grushenko, he's my favorite. Fucking, I always play Boris in the game.
invincible.
I am invincible. Fucking love me some Boris. Boris, you sit on it, but you can't take it with you. Yeah, I can fucking pretty much quote that entire movie. But yeah, let's talk about the game.
the game itself. Well, did you ever hate like the people that chose like Odd Job in multiplayer because he was like half the size of the players.
Yeah.
You couldn't really karate chop. It was harder to shoot.
Odd Job, that motherfucker. Yeah, it was kind of cool how they brought some of the older villains into the multiplayer. Like you could play as Jaws. They had the Moonraker stage, the Aztec stage from the older movies and shit. So it's the game. It was Goldeneye. Obviously, it was the first console first-person shooter to really, really blow up. I mean, with the competitive 4-player split screen. I mean, we most of us, if you're our age, you're going to have memories of split screening some Goldeneye back in the day. I mean, screen peeking and all.
I don't think Halo exists without the boom of GoldenEye.
I don't think so.
Or it would have been something way later down the line.
Yeah. I mean, I played a lot of Doom and Wolfenstein on the PC back in the day, but as far as console shooters go, man, there wasn't much until GoldenEye. I mean, I can't really think of anything, but GoldenEye was the first.
Not before.
GoldenEye got...
You had Perfect Dark afterwards,
Yeah.
which was like almost it felt like a spiritual successor to the Bond game.
As much as I love GoldenEye, I love Perfect Dark even more.
Yeah.
But it feels so much like GoldenEye when you play it. The other thing about GoldenEye that a lot of people don't think about or talk about, I think, is we talked about this on our last episode, is it turned a lot of non-gamers into gamers as well. A lot of college kids back then, you just have an N64 with GoldenEye, and that was like, fucking drink beer and play GoldenEye all night. I mean, I've just got so many memories of doing that kind of stuff. Not the beer, I was too young, but staying up all night with a bunch of friends.
Just
and
couch co-op.
Or just
couch
fucking
versus,
fucking with all the big head mode, the paintball, all that shit, man. It was so much
I
fun.
remember like writing curse words and all that with paintball mode, just like shooting walls and putting like "fuck you" or something, because I was so edgy like that. You were so angsty when I was like 12 years old or whatever.
Angst.
Full of that preteen angst. So. Yeah,
man, it was a good licensed game as well. Like the single player, it followed the movie pretty well. I mean,
think so.
It took some liberties with some of the levels, but you got to think about it. If you're making a movie into a game, you've got to elaborate on some of the shit to fit a level in those scenes. But
soundtrack was really good.
Soundtrack was
right.
Awesome.
It was almost like right from the movie. Honestly, it was. I kind of forgot about the movie. Like I played more of the game than watched the movie, and then I watched the movie recently, and I'm like, fuck, this is like the exact soundtrack. In the game, Goldeneye.
That soundtrack bumps. There are some jams up on there, dude. Yeah. I love the fucking watch theme when you bust your watch out. It's got that just fucking smooth.
It's like the elevator music
version.
Dude.
It's like, fucking love that, man. I got a lot of fond memories of that game. And I went back, I beat everything on Double Agent, got the fucking golden gun, the golden PPK, all that shit, dude. I mean, I fucking unlocked everything in that game. It was
that's no easy task either.
It wasn't, man. It was
especially a lot of the ones that you have to do like speed running.
Yeah, you have to do it under a certain time. The hardest one I'll never forget is I spent days doing the last mission, the Cradle, where you have to chase Trevelyan,
Chase Sean Bean.
Yeah, chase pixelated Sean Bean. I mean, you know he's gonna die eventually, so.
Because it's Sean Bean. He dies in all his movies.
But that last bit was fucking hard because you weren't allowed to use the golden gun or the golden PP7, and if you used any of that shit, it would like auto fail you. So you couldn't do the one shot kill like be cheap. You actually had to fucking chase his ass down and kill him, and it was tough, man. That was always the hardest double agent stage for me, at least.
For England, Brad.
For me. What are some of your fucking GoldenEye memories, man? I know you played.
I would say for me it was my friend Chris Vasilico, which we should pimp him out. Actually, he's on.
Who dat?
He's the guy that's done our logos and assortment of other things, but mostly our graphics. Yep. And we really appreciate it. I mean, he just does it for free for us because he's that awesome. So we'll pimp him out. You know, he's on YouTube, CV. The letter CV and then anims.
We got him in the back room, just chained to a desk, creating stuff for us. So
Get back to work, Chris.
Yep, he can't leave until he fucking makes all the shit for us. So.
That was actually one of when we really started hanging out. When I want to say like 4th grade. He had the game. I never owned the game, so but I would play it over at his house all the time. And that was actually one of the first games that we played together a lot. Like when we first started becoming really close friends. And I still remember this, though. This is so bad, but for some reason, this always sticks in my mind. Was like, even when I was a little kid, I would cuss a lot. I had the mouth of a sailor. So like when we were playing the game, and like say I died, I'd be like, "Oh fuck" or "Oh shit," you know. We're in 4th grade here, you know. And like I still remember his parents being like, "Why are you using that language?" And shit. I'm just like, "Oh, sorry. I'm just it's just how I am." Yeah, I've always had the mouth of a sailor. I don't know what happened, but I love those words.
Got the butt of a sailor too.
Oh,
gaping and wide.
That's your fault, Brad. It's your fault.
I know I can't help it.
Yeah. But anyways,
back to GoldenEye.
So yeah, GoldenEye ground control is having a tournament, right?
There's a local arcade here in Portland that's having a tournament next weekend, and John and I are really thinking about going. I mean, we haven't played the game in ages, and we're probably going to be sucky as just shitty as.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, I suck. I just know it's gonna happen. I would have to play.
But I'm sure there aren't really many GoldenEye experts out there anymore.
You'd be surprised.
I know.
You see all these speedrunners and all these these people that just specialize in one game. I guarantee you, there's gonna be someone at ground control.
Fucking own everyone.
Yes, he's gonna kill.
Using those C buttons to look around.
Yeah.
Before dual analog sticks.
Hey man, those C buttons were revolutionary. Okay.
You also know you can also tell an old school GoldenEye gamer or a console FPS gamer when they fucking play inverted, which is the only way to play.
Yeah, I have to play inverted. It's so weird.
It just makes sense to me.
Playing inverted.
I cannot. I have tried so many times to play not inverted, and I just can't do it, man. It's GoldenEye. GoldenEye in Perfect Dark. It broke me.
Yeah.
I need to play inverted. I need to push up to look down. It makes sense to me. It's like a fucking airplane joystick. You push forward on it, and you're going to fucking look down. You're going to go down.
Highway to the danger zone.
Some Kenny Loggins up on here.
Yep. You didn't expect that when you were
actually
turning on this podcast.
One of my hobbies outside of gaming is collecting vinyl, and I scored the Top Gun soundtrack on vinyl. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna have to blast that probably after we get done recording this.
It makes me want to put on my white button-up shirt,
yeah,
my fucking aviators, and go play some beach volleyball.
Yes. Definitely.
Then when I get pissed, I'm going to get on my fucking motorcycle and drive really fast. Just get all my anger out.
And then you're going to go become a Scientologist, right? And jump around on Oprah's couch?
I haven't decided that yet. I haven't decided if I'm going to become a Scientologist.
It's pretty famous, but have you seen the animated GIF where it's, you know the scene of Tom Cruise jumping on Oprah's couch?
Unfortunately,
obviously.
yeah.
So it's a very popular GIF where they made it where he's shooting lightning bolts out of his hands. No, it's GIF. It's GIF. The creator of it even said it is pronounced GIF. I know
about that. It's not a graphic image. It's graphic.
I'm telling you right now.
GIF.
I'm telling you right now. The creator.
Chime in. Is it GIF or GIF? Chime in on the fucking comments.
I'm telling you, it's GIF. The creator said it himself, straight out of the horse's mouth. It's GIF. But anyways,
I need proof. I need hard, cold proof.
All right, well,
of that.
we'll look this up here in a little bit. We'll look it up afterwards.
Everything I know is wrong.
Yeah. Well, it's also like the AT-ATs in Star Wars.
AT-ATs?
They're not. I refuse to call them AT-ATs, even though
I refuse to call it a GIF.
Well, all
It's
right.
not fucking peanut butter. It's a fucking GIF. Graphic.
Hey, I agree.
Hard G.
I agree. What about a giraffe?
They're just fucking abominations of Satan anyway. So
No, that's like one of my favorite
that
animals.
fucking neck
dude.
is way too goddamn long. No one should have a neck that fucking long. I'm sorry.
Have you seen giraffes fight?
It's pretty brutal,
They
man.
whip their necks
Yeah,
and like.
They whip their neck back and forth.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking crazy.
I wouldn't want to fucking get caught up in a giraffe battle.
So yeah, if you're bored, hop on YouTube and just type in giraffe fights.
Just
It's
necking
pretty
each
cool.
other.
Yeah, and then go watch some Top Gun because that's what this podcast is about. And play some Goldeneye too while you're at
Go
it.
play some goddamn Goldeneye. It's one of the best. I mean, it may not hold up very well. It's when you go and play it. We've played so many shooters since then. The shooters are like the biggest genre of fucking alive now. When you go back and play Goldeneye, it's not going to be a great controlling game.
Nope.
But fuck, man,
Nostalgia,
is there. Some of the best multiplayer maps, man. Everyone knows the facility. Everyone fucking hid in the bathroom and put proxy mines on the outside of the door and waited for their enemies to come up.
I like the temple with the hole in the
The temple was good.
Floor, and you could look down in the bottom floor.
Temple was good.
Because if you shot someone from up there, dude, it just felt so gratifying.
That was the days before the kill cam. So you die and you're just like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah.
The fucking blood just starts running down your screen and the music starts and you have no idea. Nowadays, like you see exactly where the person was and you're playing Call of Duty. It's like, oh, someone shot me. Okay, it shows me exactly where they were.
Yeah, I actually like the idea of not knowing.
Back in the day, we had to look at each other's fucking screens. Remember have you seen
Screen watchers?
Have you seen the picture of the people that took the CRT monitor and put the cardboard dividers?
Yes, yes, I
between
have.
on like the crosshairs over the TV with the
Yes.
fucking
It's
whatever
then,
it takes.
Yeah,
man.
and then the people on the bottom two would sit like right in front of the TV, and then the people on the top two
Fucking-
were
I
back
love
on the
it.
couch.
I love those old pictures. Like I don't know if you've ever seen this picture, but it's it's off topic a little bit. But there's this old picture of these kids playing Counter-Strike in their basement, and it's got one kid duct taped to the fucking like beam on a ceiling.
Yes,
And he's, like,
he's
just
looking down at his monitor.
Yes.
Yes, that's
I
amazing.
fucking love that kind of shit. Because
It's like, did you even land, bro? If you didn't have this going on at your LAN party, did you even land, bro?
You fucking cram as many people in that room as possible. Yeah, I land.
Did you land?
I did.
Yeah.
I
What was
land.
the biggest LAN party you were in?
The biggest LAN party. I mean, the game. I mean, there was some big Halo tournaments, but
Yeah.
I remember StarCraft was one of my first experiences of LANing. And speaking of StarCraft, the remastered's coming out here soon, or if it hasn't already. But luckily my good friend, his dad was a big computer geek before it was cool to be a computer geek, and he was the kind of guy. He was like 40s, living with his mom in his basement, watched fucking anime. Before.
Oh my!
He was the
Oh
super
my
nerd.
damn.
Played Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. The super nerd of the 90s. And anyway, he had his whole fucking house land up before that shit was even mainstream. And we'd play StarCraft, man. He had 3 computers, so me and his 2 brothers would play. Me, him, and his brother would play StarCraft. Like each one of the factions: Terran, Zerg, Protoss, and we'd just go till the sun came up, man. Those were good days.
Who was your squad?
I'm Terran. I've always
Yeah.
been Terran. I mean, I know they're probably the weakest of the 3, but it's just a nostalgia thing now. When I play StarCraft 2,
Yeah.
I always pick Terran.
Is that the one where like the Marines are like, "You want a piece of me, boy?"
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fuck yeah, man. The gruffy Marine who sounds like he just fucking ate sandpaper.
I didn't play like a whole lot of StarCraft, but I did play some, and I remember like for some reason it was like Protoss I liked playing with.
A lot of people play Protoss in StarCraft 2. I've been thinking about picking it up, so I may throw some YouTube shit on there of the StarCraft
I think that'd be
remaster.
pretty cool.
Well, I mean, Retro Hero, we're still. I'm a PC retro guy, so I do want to throw down some of those old school PC games here and there on our YouTube. So stay tuned.
Yeah, maybe play some Diablo or something.
Diablo. I wasn't a huge. I mean, I liked Diablo growing up, but I wasn't a huge.
You didn't
I was
like
more-
Diablo 2?
I was
Man,
more of a
Diablo
StarCraft
2 was
guy.
amazing.
It was. I played it. I was just more of a StarCraft guy growing up.
Yeah. I remember it was like one of the first bosses in Diablo 2 is like a butcher, and he's like, I smell meat. Something like that. It's just some stupid,
Fuck,
crazy
man.
shit.
People
like
still
that.
play Diablo 2 to
I
this
know.
day.
Yeah.
Even with Diablo 3 out there and all the updates and shit, people still play 2, man, just because it's fucking good.
Yeah.
It still holds up.
Very much so. Very much so. So,
We kind of skipped over the backlog update.
We did. That was my bad. It's probably because I was not a good boy and did not stick with my backlog.
Tisk tisk. Well, you need to give me some time to catch up. So it's all right.
Dragon Quest 8. I've kind of
give us some updates. Have you touched it?
No, not really. Honestly, I picked up the Mega Man Legacy Collection on my PS4, and the second one just came out actually. So I'm thinking about picking up Legacy Collection 2, just because Mega Man's one of my favorite franchises of all time. I'll definitely do some streams of playing that. That's no doubt.
Mega Man.
So I was just playing around with that. It was kind of cool just to play the old school. They have 1 through 6 on there.
Fuck yeah.
And it's 6 games for, I think it was like maybe $15 or something like that.
Can't beat that shit, dude. I love those old packaging of old games like that. I love it.
And then I believe Legacy 2, I want to say is maybe $20, and you get 4 games. But they're you get the Super Nintendo. They're
not the X series though, just the traditional like Mega Man 6. Was that the first?
No, Mega Man 7.
7 was the first Super Nintendo.
And then you get 8, which was actually a PlayStation game.
I remember that. It wasn't 8 and 9 or 9 and 10?
9 and 10
were the later on that came out just recently.
Yes, and those 2 are on there as well.
I've heard those are really good Mega Man games.
They are. It's a throwback to the old school ones. It has the old school graphics and everything, but it's definitely more.
Do you think we'll ever see a good 2D? Speaking of 2D revivals, you think we'll ever see a good 2D Mega Man come back, or is that done? Is that ship sailed?
In an ideal world in my life,
Mighty Number 9 was garbage.
I would love to see another 2D Mega Man X, because the last couple Mega Man X's they went 3D and it just did not.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Did not translate.
I'll always take 2D sprites over the 2.5D graphics.
I'm not even talking about. No, this was straight up 3D though. This was like
over the shoulder.
Yes.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, like Mega Man Legends type. Action. And they introduced this other guy named Axel, who is like, he just has like a pistol or whatever. And it's like, dude, he's not as cool as Mega Man or Zero. It's like, I don't want to play as Axel or whatever his fucking name is. I might be forgetting. I don't know. Who cares? But I'm just saying,
sounds right.
Bring back a good Mega Man X 2D style 16-bit game. If they can do it with Sonic, if they've been doing it with some Mario games.
Well, people bitched long enough about a 2D Metroid, and they're finally getting one. So if you can bitch long enough about a 2D Mega Man, you'll get one eventually.
My problem is, though, is those series have a bigger following than Mega Man. Mega Man has a cult following, but it's a niche. It's like, it's not, it doesn't have the same speaking power. Their fans, at least. And Capcom has also been neglecting Mega Man so much.
Isn't it interesting how all these legendary developers from the 90s who created, or even the 80s, who created all these just fucking timeless games like Mega Man, like Mario, like fucking Castlevania, all that shit, Metroid, they all went away from the 2D in like the N64 era, I feel like. And then all the fans started coming out and making the indie games that were throwbacks to those games.
Shovel Knight.
And then people were starting to bitch that there wasn't a 2D Metroid. Like, they've gotten all these like Axiom Verge and a lot of these kind of like the Metroidvania as a genre now. And all these
Guacamelee is a good one.
Exactly. All these indie games and all these fans who grew up playing Metroid and are inspired by that and made all of their inspirations come true. And now you can see all these developers are kind of catching on, and like they're like, okay, now we should probably pay attention to 2D Metroid.
It's like, don't they know? I mean, Hollywood's revamping everything. There's not a single unique idea in Hollywood. And video games are kind of going the same route. Like, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yep, I would prefer a 2D fucking hand-drawn sprite Castlevania over the 3D fucking shit that was coming out.
Absolutely,
any day. I'm not saying the 3D games are terrible; they're just not as good. But rarely does a good 2D game translate well into 3D, unless it's Mario or Zelda. But still, even with those, you still want the 2D Marios. Even as good as Mario 64 is, you still want, because they play so differently. The
thing was, though, is they still, even though they did make those 3D games, you still, like, with Zelda, you get, like, Minish Cap on the Game Boy Advance. So they give you those 2Ds. Or you got...
That was Capcom keeping that flag going.
Or A Link Between Worlds, which is on the 3DS, like, kind of bringing it back.
Yeah, or like the new Super Mario Bros.
Pseudo 2.5D.
I don't like the 2.5D. Just give me straight 2D.
Yeah. No, I'm not arguing with you on that. But I'm saying, like, it at least has that same feel. maybe not the same look, but it has the same feel.
Yeah. I love the Metroidvania genre, man. It's
one of my all-time.
It's amazing.
Favorites.
One of my favorite Metroidvanias out there. It's a game called Outland. I'm not sure if you've played it. It was on the PS.
I have not.
I played it on the PS3, and it had this really cool mechanic where you could change your color between red and blue, and the enemies were red or blue, and you had to match your color to the enemy to actually do damage to them. And if you were the opposite color, you get fucked up, or there was like certain obstacles in the level that you had to match your color to get through them. It was a really cool game, man. It's long.
What console was it on?
I played it on PS3.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you can get it on the PS4. I think it's on Steam and such. But man, it was Outland. It was excellent.
I might have to add that to my list.
Had a little bit of a Ninja Gaiden vibe to it as well, because you could like kind of wall hang and shit.
Oh,
like,
nice.
You do some wall jumps and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, one of my favorite Metroidvanias is basically the game that created the term Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Is Symphony of the Night.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's
John.
I can play
confession.
That game
I've never played Symphony of the Night.
It's gonna be on your backlog. Don't. I promise you.
I know the intro. I know all the cheesiness. I mean, I've seen people play it, but I've never played it myself. I don't know why.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets. But enough talk. Have at you. Ha! Ha!
I just love the corniness of the voices on there. It's so good though.
Fuck yeah, man! That PS1 era fucking dialogue recording.
But it was like even like Richter was like the most egregious of that. It's just like mankind ill needs a savior such as you. Just so ridiculous. I
fucking love it though. I fucking love it.
And Alucard's like super emo. He's just like.
Yeah, Alucard. He does seem like an emo, like goth.
But he had a really deep voice though. He's like,
my life is just so complicated.
My life is a black abyss.
The black abyss of my soul. Yeah, I could see Alucard as being like a fucking emo goth, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. He had the trench coat down.
Yeah, listening to 9 Inch Nails back in the night. He painted his fingernails black and shit, just rebelling like, Mom, I told you I don't like the Beatles.
Well, actually, his mom is dead, so that's part of the reason why
he's so angsty.
Yeah,
makes sense. His backstory's making sense now.
It is. Oh, have you heard about the with the animated? Are they going to make a season 2?
Yes, they are.
They are. Okay,
and it's going to be longer than season 1. Season 1, I think, was just kind of like a test to see if people would actually watch it.
It was amazing, by the way. So if you haven't seen it, I believe we talked about it. But just if you haven't seen it, just go see it. It's on Netflix. It's awesome. Give it a shot.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah. So let's talk about some sad news.
I'm really sad, man. Fuck. Hey, give me a moment.
Yeah. All right, Brad. Let it out.
Okay.
Just let it out. It's gonna be okay.
We found out this week that Chuck E. Cheese is discontinuing all of their animatronics, all of them,
and they're going to people in suits. Is that what's going on? I mean, I know there were people in suits, but like on the stage, the animatronics. Yeah,
they're going to take out the stage and all the animatronics, and they're going to replace it with a dance floor and more costumed humans coming out and fucking dancing with kids and shit. But
it's fucking blasphemous.
There's something about those animatronics, man. I mean, everyone had a fucking birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese if you grew up in the 90s, unless you were just some miserable soul. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. There's still time. You can still get there and have a birthday party with the animatronics before they go away if you never did. So.
Oh, is there a date? Did they put a date?
Yeah, I think there's like a date. They're gonna kind of clear them all out. I don't.
Is this how Five Nights at Freddy's? Is that how it's gonna happen? Or they're gonna cut down the commission of all these robots?
They're gonna throw them all in a fucking warehouse somewhere, and then
come to life.
They're gonna revolt and they're gonna rebel. There's also a great. You ever watch a regular show?
Oh yeah, all the time.
There's a great episode where they deal with the animatronics like coming to life and shit, and then they're like trying to escape, and it turns into this. It's just brilliant. The fucking like SWAT team comes in the end. There's this like shootout and stuff with the fucking animatronics. Oh, I fucking love it.
Yeah,
it's the Fuzzy Dice episode, I believe, where Benson needs his fuzzy dice back or something, so they have to go to arcade, like win them back, and then like, the animatronics come to life.
Oh wow, that's all. I've not seen that episode, but it's a
classic. As cheesy as the animatronics were, there was still something kind of creepy about them too. You know, I mean, they had just this
lifeless eyes,
and all animatronics really in general. But that's the charm of them is that they're just slightly creepy at the same time.
I remember that female bird. That one creeped me out like more than Chucky did. But now, have you seen Chucky lately? They tried to make him cooler.
He's modern and cool, and he has a fidget spinner.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and he has like the backwards hat too now.
He's angsty now.
Like, I don't know. It's just that's not Chucky.
He's He's in his rebellion stage.
I'm used to him like wearing like one of those. What do they call them? Like boulder hats or whatever.
Yeah,
or
I know what you're talking about.
Them.
The old like 20s hats.
Like having like a feather and tucked in or something.
That's back when he was a corrupt mobster. Now he's just now he's just a fucking.
He's like, give me a.
Now he's from South Central.
Oh yeah, he's gangsta. But it's just I don't know. It's just weird. He got like skinnier too. He looks more rat than mouse.
He went gluten free. The pizza went gluten free, and so did he.
Yeah.
So he dropped some weight.
Oh damn.
I mean, I don't know that for sure, but it makes sense. Modern Chuck E. Cheese. I haven't had their pizza since the 90s.
He has a gluten intolerance. Yes.
I haven't had their pizza since the 90s because I would avoid it every time I bring my kid there because I just remember how terrible it was. I don't know if they ever changed the recipe.
I doubt it.
If they did, email us at retroheropodcast@gmail.com and let us know if the pizza ever got any better.
Make a YouTube video reviewing Chuck E. Cheese pizza of today. I'll look at it. I'll give it a like.
I'll give it a like.
Yep. And share.
But yeah, I mean, Chuck E. Cheese, the animatronics, they had that charm. I mean, even when you go to Disneyland or some other places and you see the animatronics, there's something about them. But I always prefer physical effects. I prefer puppetry in movies and shit. So maybe that's why I have a soft spot for animatronics. I feel like someone had to make that. It's a little more art behind it. I feel like,
Other than just behind a computer.
I think every animatronic was unique. They weren't just like made on an assembly line. Someone actually made each set of animatronics, and they have like their slight differences and quirks to them and shit. So,
do you think that maybe they're going away from it because like maybe they were short circuiting too much or something? And like a human's not going to short circuit unless they just suffer a seizure.
I just think kids aren't into animatronics anymore. Yeah. They're probably just going to add more fucking LED lights that make kids have seizures.
It's going to be a rave. It's like
exactly. There's going to be fucking techno beats.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Be some fucking like subliminal messaging to turn the kids into slaves at a young age and love the fucking capitalist nation we live in. That's a metaphor.
So, we were talking about this before we started recording. So we were talking about the Chuck E. Cheese, and we kind of came up with some ideas of other things that just kind of aren't prevalent anymore in the 90s. That like if you didn't grow up in the 90s, you wouldn't know it now. But there's some great things growing up as a kid in the 90s,
exactly.
which I may be biased, but I feel like that was like the golden age to be a kid, whether it was cartoons and I feel like I mean maybe I am biased just because I grew up in that generation, but it just looking back at all the other generations, like from a cartoon perspective, from a video game perspective, just from an entertainment perspective, like going out to like a Chuck E. Cheese or something. It just felt like that was like the golden age to be a kid.
I will agree with you there. I think the 90s was the best time to be a kid, especially the early 90s with, all the Nintendo shit and all the fucking video games.
And you could still ride your bike out when like it was a little dark. Well, no, I mean like parents weren't just worried about just pedophiles being everywhere.
Yeah, that's just I think a result of the internet making people more aware of that shit.
I agree.
I don't think there's any more pedophiles today than there were back then.
Probably not, but I agree. But the thing is just it's out there now.
Yes,
and now you're like a shitty parent if you're just like, oh, go ride your bike until the lights, until the street lights come on.
You need to spend quality time with your kid every day. Now fucking let those kids fucking be kids.
Like put some Germ-X in their back pocket in case they touch a little dirt.
I used to be like, Mom, going out in the morning, and I'd go out like fucking miles away from home on my bike and fucking go in the forest and do stupid shit all day long, and I'd just come home at dark. And that's how I grew up. I mean,
my mom would say like, just tell me where you're going.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, what are you gonna do? Who are you with? And then that was the end of it, though. It wasn't like I need to talk to their parents. Oh, wear some knee pads if you're gonna go skateboarding, or wear your helmet. And I was like, fuck no, I'm just going out. Like whatever.
If I fucking break my leg, it's
don't
my
get hit by
fault.
a car. Like you know better. It's like the parents back then, that generation, just gave you the benefit of the doubt that you weren't fucking stupid or just some pussy ass kid that can't take care of themselves. And I don't know what happened over these last 10 or 15 years, but it's just...
Lots changed, man.
Pussification of children.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's that. I also think it's the making parents scared of everything, man. That's like in the news and everything out there in the media. They're trying to make everyone just scared of and untrusting of everyone else. If you realize, man, people talk to each other a lot less now than they did back in the day. Like walking down the street, I noticed this. If I walk by someone down the street, I'll usually try and like smile or nod or say hi or something.
You used to know your neighbors. Like nowadays, it's like you don't really
there's that
talk
too.
to your
But
neighbors.
I walk down the street now, and I'm walking my dog around the neighborhood, and fucking people don't even look at me, dude. Like, or I'll be like wearing like a Metallica or some like metal T-shirt, and like I just get these fucking evil looks and shit. Like why is he in our neighborhood? I don't know. People are just very untrustworthy, untrusting of people. Not untrustworthy, but they're untrusting of other people, and everyone wants to be closed off in this box and be. People want to act like they're all accepting and inclusive, but they just want to be fucking left alone, man.
Yeah,
honestly,
we all live in our own personal box nowadays.
And if you can't fucking put someone else into a categorical box, then fuck them.
Yeah.
That's kind of the society we live in now. Everyone's got to be defined and.
Yeah. But enough of that.
Yeah, back to shit. So anyway, we discussed we were talking about Chuck E. Cheese, and we thought of some other things from the 90s that are no longer around, and if they're around, they're rare as fuck.
Few and far between, yeah.
So yeah, Chuck E. Cheese was the big one. I mean, there's still Chuck E. Cheese everywhere, but they're a shell of their former self, in my opinion.
Especially without those animatronics.
Yep. Rest in peace, animatronics. I'll take one. Give me one. I'll put it in my house.
Oh god, that'd be fucking creepy.
Just comes to life at night and starts singing like, what the fuck? Be Five Nights at Freddy's all over again.
Do you remember Discovery Zone?
Fuck yes, I do.
I actually had my birthday. That was like when I was older. I graduated from Chuck E. Cheese.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say I had my birthday there maybe like twice when I was younger, and then you graduated to having your birthday party at Discovery Zone, or DZ.
DZ, the Discovery Zone.
Yeah, it's
just fucking theme.
And so if you don't know what a Discovery Zone is, or if maybe like in other parts of the country, maybe they went by a different name or something. But Discovery Zone was basically it was just one huge building inside where it was just all the tubes and slides and everything, where you literally, it'd be like the hotel from The Shining. If you made a wrong turn, you're never getting out. You might die of starvation.
Yeah, they found like skeletons of dead kids when they were like taking that place apart when they closed down. They're like, little Jimmy's bones are back here. Like,
yeah, and they had all kinds of weird things. It's like they had ball pits, obviously, but then it was
before they discovered syringes in the ball pits.
Then they also had just like the
snakes,
big padded pillars that you could just like do the football move and run through.
Remember those? Or they had remember they had like the padded cylinders where you could like go through them, and it was almost like they would roll together, and you would like. I can't describe. It's hard to describe without. If you saw a video of me, it'd be easier to see. But there were these two like cylinders that rolled on top of each other, and you could like go through them and shit. And, like there was like multiple ones.
Kind of like the
kind of snake through,
kind of like Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
But you were like supposed to fall through the middle.
Discovery Zone was like Ninja Warrior training for kids.
Oh, it certainly was.
Remember those rolly slides where they had like the little fucking rollers?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a smooth slide. They had the rollers on them.
The one thing I always hated though,
pinch your fucking skin in them.
Even though anytime it was like I got invited to Discovery Zone, I was always like, fuck yeah, it was just like, that's awesome. But my knees and like elbows always got
fucked,
dude. Scraped up, all kinds of shit. Or the little bolts that connected would shock you. You get the static shock. That was like the worst thing ever. I'd be like, fuck.
There was always, every time, even to this day, there's always that one kid who's just like crying because he's lost. Like you're going through crying.
Yeah,
you're
don't
calling
even know
through.
the kid. He's from another party, and
he's just like, nah, Bobby. He's like, well, fuck
and
you.
you just keep going. You're like, fuck this.
Oh, it's every kid for themselves in those tubes, man.
It's a dog eat dog world. That Discovery Zone.
As big as Discovery Zone was, there was a place in Colorado when I grew up that was even fucking bigger. It was called Leaps and Bounds.
Oh, I remember. Yeah,
and it was basically like a Walmart, but with fucking tubes everywhere, man. And it was just heaven.
Yeah, I want to say in Texas where I grew up, it was Leaps and Bounds first, and then they went like out of business or something, or just didn't do well there. And Discovery Zone, like basically took over the Leaps and Bounds.
Fuck. What happened to those places, man? Are they just too much of a liability now? Like some kid like broke his neck, and then they just had to close them all down. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, we live in that society where you just get sued for everything.
Yeah,
so my son
Cheryl,
got a hangnail, and I'm gonna sue you.
My poor son just stubbed his toe, and now he's emotionally scarred. Like, bitch, shut up. Let your kid play.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. There might still be places like that around.
I
but
haven't seen a Discovery Zone in a lot. I haven't even seen
or
a
just something
tubes.
similar.
I mean, you see them at like fucking McDonald's and shit, like some of the tube places.
But even McDonald's usually doesn't have those that much anymore. They kind of went away from that. Like you might see one that has like the tubes in the ball pit, but most of those are kind of a lost art too. Those are gone away.
Aren't they essentially like, if you think about it? Did you ever have like a pet gerbil or a hamster?
Yeah,
remember those tubes that they would go through? Like that was essentially what it was. It was like human gerbil tubes.
Yeah.
Where is all that plastic now, man? All those fucking plastic tubes. What happened to them? Is there just like a fucking pile somewhere of them, or they melt them down and turn them into something else?
They're in our water bottles now, and that's why we're all getting cancer.
Man, they're floating out in the middle of the ocean somewhere with that fucking giant
plastic
island. Yeah, the toxic island
that nobody talks about, by the way.
Yep.
No, do you ever hear anybody talk about those like floating plastic islands in the ocean?
Why would they want you to know about
why?
that?
Because it's fucked up.
Yeah, they don't want you to know about that. They want you to keep buying plastic and fucking consuming. If you know what your consumption's doing to the world, you're gonna stop. So they're not gonna tell you. They're not gonna make you stop. Anyway, enough of that shit.
Just look it up. Plastic islands, floating islands. It's fucking ridiculous.
Very disturbing. Yeah. Stop drinking fucking plastic water bottles, or stop just throwing them away. Recycle. Recycle, motherfuckers.
RECYCLE. Recycle. So,
yeah, fucking Discovery Zone. That was fucking awesome. It was like American Gladiator training for a fucking kid. Some other places we were talking about is just... I mean, here in Portland, we're lucky. We have arcades everywhere. But
it's kind of the hipster thing. An arcade's kind of hipster now. Even though I love going to them and I don't self-identify as a hipster, it's kind of like they bring the pinball machines and all that here. It's just... But we have them here. But
most people aren't so lucky. Like when we lived in Houston, there wasn't shit. But
not really.
Do you remember Tilt? Remember Tilt arcades in the malls where you go to the mall and mom would go shopping? You're like, just give me $20 and drop me off at Tilt.
That's when I played Mortal Kombat for the first time.
Yeah, nice.
Was at those kind of arcades.
I remember the Tilt. The Tilt by my house in the mall. It was a shitty Tilt. I mean, it did have like a ball pit and some shit in the back, but it was kind of a rundown Tilt. It was a rundown mall, really. And I remember they got the original Soul Calibur cabinet there, like when it first came out. And my friends and I would just fucking... That was like back when I was first starting to get into anime and shit. And like those characters, I loved them. So yeah, I have some fond memories of Tilt, man. Like my dad and I, that was kind of like the go-to arcade. Places like Dave and Buster's were just too fucking expensive and shit, man. You know, like they're just... I don't like fucking preloading my card and going out and fucking you blast through it in like 5 minutes. $2 per play and bullshit like that. Luckily here in Portland, most of the arcades are like 25 to 50 cents per play. Keeps it pretty affordable.
Quarter World was like what the most expensive you're putting in is 50 cents, other than maybe like the F-Zero one.
Yeah, they have
I think $1 in that one.
That's right? John and I's favorite game there. They have this. They have the Japanese F-Zero cabinet with the fucking full motion tilt and shit.
Yeah,
the chair tilts and it rumbles and it does all that crazy shit, man. We spent a lot of time on that thing when we go there. It's the GameCube F-Zero, I believe, but they turned it into like the arcade.
Yeah, it's a little different though. It's not quite exactly like it's not just a port of the GameCube version.
I feel like it's that engine though.
But no, it definitely is similar.
The Japanese
to that
version because it's all in Japanese there. There's no English.
No English.
So yeah, man, those fucking places of the '90s, man, and some other places I remember, that were oftentimes built into the arcades was like laser tag, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's laser tag still out there, but I feel like laser tag was like the shit back in the 90s, dude. Like Laser Quest, remember that place?
Yeah.
Like overnight lock-ins and shit.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I had my birthday at a Laser Quest as well, so.
Me too. Man, I remember like fucking multi-story, like some of them had like 3 or 4 stories and towers and shit. And like I'd always envision myself in a video game or like Starship Troopers or some shit when I was in there, just acting like I was in war.
Oh yeah.
And I would still go to a laser tag today.
I even had
throw down.
I remember it was like I think they just called it laser tag. I think they did. But it was the commercial you saw like on Nickelodeon all the time, where it was like the take-home laser tag. Where
I had those. The gray.
They were gray. The little kind of like rounded gray guns.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I had that as a kid, and I would invite friends over, and we'd just do that. It was super stupid, but we'd just go to the park and like just run around like crazy.
We did the same thing. Supposedly, some geniuses out there did like a Kickstarter or something and made like a modern take-home laser tag that like syncs up with your phone and shit, I think, and it keeps score real time. You put your phone like in the gun, And your phone is like your HUD essentially.
Oh.
So it keeps track of like the scores and the damage and all that shit. And I think there's like turrets you can put around and all this great. Like I was looking into it, man. I didn't get too much into it, but it was like adult laser tag for us, man. It'd be fucking awesome.
I think there's actually a laser tag place not too far from where we live.
There is. I know exactly where it is. Maybe we should go do some do a retro hero video. Us playing laser tag. Me dominating you.
Yeah, right.
Headshot. Boom, headshot.
Oh yeah. But then I mean, I guess one of the main things that we always we've talked about it before, but what about places like Blockbuster?
What? Where?
Huh?
Blockbuster?
Blockbuster.
You know, there's only 5 Blockbusters left in the U.S., and one of them is here in Portland.
Really? I'm gonna go.
I was saying we should go.
We should go.
We should go on a little retro hero road trip.
It should be almost like a Crocodile Hunter-esque. We should be like looking around, like, oh, it's a rare beast.
Oh, rare beast indeed. They still have the VHS section.
We haven't seen a beast like this since 1996.
I just love that South Park episode with the fucking Blockbuster where he's like, it's Halloween.
Stan.
He's like, it's Halloween. It's finally the night. It's the busiest night of the year. Like getting ready for all these people to come. Like no one fucking comes. No one cares about Blockbuster anymore, man. It's Netflix, fucking Redbox. It's just
they killed it.
But you know,
it's Blockbuster's fault though. They could have jumped on that. I mean, they kind of sort of
did. They tried, I think, and it failed. But
I think the people that made Netflix actually approached Blockbuster.
Oh right.
I think that's. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on it, but I'm almost positive that the people that made Netflix approached Blockbuster to get.
Well, I know after Netflix got big, before the streaming, but when their like DVD shipping was big, Blockbuster tried to copy that model and it just failed. Yeah. It failed. So yeah, I mean, but if you were a gamer in the '90s, you went to Blockbuster. I mean, it was such a big part of gaming because
Saturday.
That's how we tried new games. We didn't have GameFly or Redbox. You know, it was fucking. My dad went to Blockbuster to go rent some movies. I would go to the game section and just stay there until he was done. And you would fucking play Russian roulette with game boxes. You know, it was like...
Yeah, you judged it on the box art or the little frames that you saw of actual gameplay.
Screenshots. I mean,
screenshots,
I never subscribed to like magazines, but I would sometimes have video game magazines, and I would sometimes know about what to get and what to pick up.
What was your go-to magazine? Because I have one. I want to pimp it out here.
I liked Nintendo Power, and my non-Nintendo magazine I did was EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly.
I did not have Nintendo Power or EGM, but like I had a subscription to them, and I don't think they exist anymore, but GamePro magazine.
Yeah, GamePro. I remember GamePro. Fuck yeah.
My shit, dude. I probably had a subscription to them for probably close to 10 years.
Nice. Hell yeah. I remember GamePro a lot as well. I used to...
And I saved them all, too. So it was like I had the lowest drawer on my dresser was just like filled to the brim with GamePro magazines.
I did that too, man. I saved all my video game magazines over the years, and one day I'm just like, why the fuck did I keep all these? And now I'm kind of wishing I would have kept them.
Yeah, I wonder, like, I mean, they weren't always in the best condition, but I didn't like fuck them up all the time either. So it was like, I wonder, like, was there any value in it?
Those
Probably
pages
not,
were sticking together on the Lara Croft centerfold.
How'd you know? It's like you're peering into my soul now.
Those fucking boobs were sharp enough to poke your eyes out back then.
I didn't mind, though.
But yeah, I mean, with Blockbuster, you know, with us, you took a fucking gamble. You'd go to the gaming section. I would spend my dad took forever picking movies, so it gave me a lot of time to browse. And man, you just look at the back, you read the description, or like just the box art itself would sometimes be enough for you to get that game. And a lot of the times, those games fucking sucked, and you just have to fucking suck it up and wait till you went back.
You had to wait like 5 days or whatever it was. Because, like, I mean, for me, it was a Saturday tradition for my family.
It was
I think that was for most. Yeah, Friday or Saturday, you know, just for the weekend.
Get some pizza, fucking have a friend sleep over, go to Blockbuster.
I miss that. Like, I miss
those carefree days like that. Fucking Blockbuster, man. Remember when Pokemon Snap was big and Blockbuster had the printers where you could print off your pictures and shit?
I never did it. I never printed them out myself, but I did have the card for it. I believe it had Bulbasaur on it.
There was a few different ones. I remember there was a Bulbasaur one. There was like an Electabuzz card, I believe. And I remember the pictures I printed, the one I kept was my prized Gyarados picture, because Gyarados is one of like the secret pictures you had to get. And we had to like hit a Magikarp with the Pokeball, and he would fly into the waterfall, and then Gyarados would bust out. And I got a perfect picture of that.
Oh, you're just like,
and I got the sticker.
Proud of it.
I
you
was
were so proud of it.
I got the sticker printed off, and I like stuck it on my Game Boy and left it on there until it basically just wore off. But
that's amazing.
On my old fat fucking first gen Game Boy with a green screen.
That's amazing. So speaking of Blockbuster, I guess I should bring this up because it's kind of similar to that. Is like I don't know what it is around the country, but I mean I know Hollywood Video was a bigger brand name. I don't think it was all around the 50 states though.
Hollywood Video, I mean Blockbuster was always there. Then Hollywood Video came later on. Yeah, they tried to like come and compete. We didn't really went.
They were usually a little bit cheaper too.
They were. Oh, they definitely were.
So actually, like once Hollywood Video came, they were both kind of in the same radius of where I lived. But it was like I tended to go to Hollywood Video. Yeah. My family did at least would go to Hollywood Video more than Blockbuster over.
We started
years.
going there because it was closer to our house, so my dad started going there.
Right
I think we had like
from you.
Yeah, we had like that monthly thing where you paid like $30 a month and you could just rent as many DVDs as you wanted. I think my dad had something like that. But
yeah, your dad was a movie nerd.
He was a movie buff until he discovered Netflix.
Yeah,
and then he started getting like the 2-3 DVDs at a time before the streaming shit.
Yeah, but so. What Hollywood Video did was they had the, obviously you could rent the games just like Blockbuster, rent the movies just like Blockbuster. But they also eventually, later down the road, came up with a store inside the store called Game Crazy, where it was basically like GameStop as a small section in the Hollywood Videos. And I actually worked at one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
See, it's funny because every gamer's like, I would love to work at GameStop or Game Crazy, but everyone I've known who's worked there fucking hated it.
Yeah, it's not as ideal as you think. You think like, oh, I'm surrounded by video games and I can talk about video games all day, and you're like, it's my American dream.
Did you get that snot-nosed kid who would come in and just want to talk about Pokemon for like hours with you? Like you're the only social interaction he's ever had. And he just comes, he's like, Pokemon, and you're just like, fuck.
You would always get this like the same reoccurring guest, and they would never buy a game. They would just maybe walk in and play like Guitar Hero, the little demo or whatever, and just same old shit.
I actually won a Mario Kart Double Dash tournament at that Game Crazy.
Nice.
I went in there and signed up. I was in there just shopping around one day, and they were like, "Oh, you want to sign up for this tournament?" Fuck yeah, I do. And fucking won, dude. It was a lot of kids there. Honestly, it was kind of easy.
Brad, he's stomping on some
it was
kids,
kind of, but there was one like creepy adult there, and it came down to me and him for the final, and I just fucking wasted him, dude. It wasn't like a race; it was timed. Like the best time on the course would win.
Yeah.
And I won a copy of Double Dash. I got a Nintendo T-shirt that I still have to this day, and a Nintendo hat which I lost, but. It was pretty cool, man. I've never won a tournament like that before.
But I think the thing that sucked for me the most was at the time I was working at Game Crazy was the fucking explosion of the Wii. So anytime that phone rang, we would take bets. Like me and my coworkers were like, it's a question about a mom, a middle-aged mother asking if we have Wiis in stock. And it'd just be like, it got to the point that where we even said, we'd be like, answer the phone. It's like, thank you for calling Game Crazy. This is John speaking. We're currently sold out of Wiis. Yeah. Like, we didn't even, like, if it was like, if this is a question about the Wii, we do not have any.
I remember I worked at Best Buy when the Wii came out. I was in the gaming section, and the same thing, man. We eventually just put signs out that were like, no Wiis. Like, dude, the Wii was fucking, it was so, luckily I pre-ordered mine and got it the day one, but, dude, that system was scarce for a long time.
Yeah, it's the all-time selling console, right?
PS2 is the number one. Wii's number two, I believe. Yeah, it's the best selling Nintendo console. But yeah, nothing will ever touch PS2's numbers.
Yeah, I doubt it. It was out so long too.
PS2 is like the Wayne Gretzky of Nintendo consoles. You just never touch those numbers.
Of Nintendo consoles?
Or of fucking Sony? video game consoles. That's what I meant to say.
But yeah, it's pretty insane. But it just sucked. It was not as cool as you think it is. I thought it was going to be amazing, and it wasn't. And my manager was a prick.
Yeah, and that's the general story of those people who've worked there. So how'd you end up leaving that job?
It's kind of crazy. It's kind of game crazy.
Did you do like the everyone's dream and like you're like do the middle finger to the boss and you're like fucking. Knocking shit off the shelves as you walk out like fucking Walter White.
No, mine was even better.
Fuck your eyebrows.
It was I had asked for the day off.
Okay.
And he was like, we could give it to you, but can you like at least maybe just work like half a day, do the opening half a day? And I was like, oh, fuck, okay. So the day was Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, what Super Bowl?
That's actually this is where it's actually cool. So it's like it was kind of worth it. You remember the undefeated Patriots losing to the Giants in the Super Bowl?
I do.
Yeah. So even you not being like the biggest football fan would,
I remember
like
that
most
one.
people,
Yeah.
That's the David Tyree catching the football on his helmet.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, so I worked the early shift, and before the guy that was supposed to relieve me, his dad calls. Not even he couldn't even have the balls.
Are you
like
fucking kidding me? His daddy called for him?
He's like, Dad, like, and I knew he wasn't sick, and it was just because the Super Bowl was about to be on,
That dude should have been fired on the spot for having his daddy call him.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm sorry, my son's sick. I don't think he can come into work today. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I knew he was lying. I knew just from the tone of his voice, and I was like, because he wouldn't even call me.
Too much of a coward.
Wouldn't even talk to me. Yeah, I was like, dude, fuck you. No way, dude. This is not happening to me. Like, I'm like freaking Damien in Clerks was like, I wasn't even supposed to work today. I'm not even supposed to be here.
Yeah.
It was like one of those moments. So that's why, like, I really love the movies Clerks too, because it just I can totally relate to it.
If you've ever worked a retail job, that movie just clicks.
I wasn't even supposed to be here.
Oh man!
And so that comes up. So I'm calling my manager, and he's not answering his phone, like intentionally. He would like answer it, and then finally I got to him, and he's just like, oh well, I have bad service where I'm at right now, like, and I'll get back to you. And so eventually I got so pissed. The Super Bowl was about to start. I closed down the drawer, shut down the store. There was like a kid or two in the store, and I was like, hey guys, sorry, you gotta go. We're closing down. And they were like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm closing the store.
So that was the last time you worked a Game Crazy?
Yep. And then what happened was, so I closed down. I made sure to close the drawer. I made sure the drawer was straight. The last thing I wanted was like them to be like, oh, the drawer's short or anything. Like everything was fine on that. And then I locked the place, and then you go out towards the Hollywood videos section. I remember there was like one chick that I'd talked to a lot that worked in the Hollywood side, and she's like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, peace out. I'm fucking out of here. Like, this is bullshit.
Damn.
I was like, I quit.
Nice.
And then the day I had the keys, because, there's only about, at a Game Crazy, there's only about like 3 people that really worked at, 3 to 4 people that worked at a Game Crazy.
Oh yeah, remember that?
Not a huge store, so a lot of the times you were working by yourself, or you might have had one person with you. But so that happened, and then whenever it was time to like bring my key back to work, the manager like wouldn't even look me in the eyes because he knew he fucked up and shit. It was just
damn.
It just sucked. It was really shitty.
I actually got a slightly similar story to that. I didn't get fired, but I almost did.
I quit.
Well, I was working at Best Buy at the time, and it was back in the 2010 Winter Olympics, and it came down to that gold medal game between USA and Canada in hockey. And you know me, I'm diehard hockey. So the game went to overtime, and it was like height of the holiday rush. I mean, the fucking Black Friday shit was in full swing and all this stuff. And I called my manager. I said, hey, you know me. This shit's going to overtime. This is the best hockey game I've ever seen in my life. And I told him I wasn't coming in until that shit ended, and he was just not having it, tell me I was going to be fired. I just said, you know what? Okay. I just hung up, and I watched the rest of the game. USA ended up losing, went to work, and they didn't even know I wasn't there. Like, the manager gave me shit, but when I actually showed up, they were like, oh, hey, like, you're here. Like,
they didn't know you were
there. They didn't even know, like, I was not there. Like, it was so busy that no one even, like, missed me. So
did you claim the hours?
No.
Oh, okay.
I should have. But, yeah, it was funny. I was just like, you know what? My love for hockey means more to me than this fucking piece of shit part-time job. Fuck retail, by the way. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyone who's working retail, I got mad respect for you. I'll never.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I always treat retail people with
I would say
respect.
about 90% of my jobs were retail.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. It's
And the second I got out, it was like the happiest I ever was working a job.
It's definitely sucks your soul and crushes it, and fucking man, people who work retail are just usually pretty cynical.
Yeah. So keep fighting the good fight if you do work retail, because it does suck, or if you work in any like sort of food business, fast food, or as a waiter or anything, or
I
bartender.
did that too. Fuck that.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. Yeah.
keep
So next
fighting the
time you
good
want
fight.
to complain because your food didn't come out within 2 minutes, like shut the fuck up. Cut 'em some slack.
Oh yeah, definitely. But
So yeah, those are some forgotten relics of the '90s that we kind of discussed amongst ourselves. I mean, if there's anything from your region or your part of the country that you have fond memories of from back then,
share with us.
send us an email, man. We need to start getting some emails from you guys,
Yeah.
or else we're gonna stop the show.
Even oh no. World's smallest violin is
Threatening
playing
you.
right now. But yeah, you just hit us up on the Retro Hero Podcast at gmail.com.
Yep.
If you really liked what you listened to, us rambling along for about a little over an hour, you can always show your appreciation by hitting us up on Patreon, even just $1.
Yep.
$1.
$1.
That's all we asked for. $1.
Yep. If every one of you freeloaders who's listening to this episode right now,
Fucking freeloaders.
$1. I know you got it. Throw $1 in the Patreon. It's really going to help us to bring you more entertaining shit on a more regular basis. So
Patreon.com/Retro Hero. Hit us
know.
up.
we'll take most of that money and just go blow it on lavish vacations and cars and shit. But, we'll give you some stuff.
And my cocaine habit.
Yeah, John's got a bad cocaine habit, so
Yeah.
we got to support that, Don't want him being unhappy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hit that line, John.
I need
What the
I need
fuck?
But yeah, and then we're also sort of on Twitter at the Retro Hero, and you can hit us up on YouTube. We're gonna upload that Sonic Mania.
Yep, we're gonna get some more stuff up there. Hopefully, maybe some more Wolfenstein
Yeah, we're
shit.
gonna kill some Nazis.
Yeah, we really want to kill some Nazis right now.
Yeah, very much so. So yeah,
I know these last we're 4 episodes in now. Damn, didn't think we'd get this far, but shit's gonna start getting a little more focused from here on out. We're gonna start, getting better topics, more interesting shit to talk about. We've kind of been just, like I said, we're still kind of getting in the groove, but
rambling.
I feel better. I feel like more confident versus episode 1, man. Like shit,
yeah.
I feel like we've come a long way since then, and
Yeah.
we're just gonna keep going up, man. Keep on going up.
Not like we can get much worse, right?
There's only up from here, baby.
Yep. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to the Retro Hero Podcast. We love you if you have listened to us for a little over an hour right now, and we praise you. And
I love you long time.
That's awesome. Like you've got some strong.
You got some willpower.
Strong
if you made it this far.
Yes. So thank you so much. We will see you next week or 2 weeks from now. Sorry, we try and do every other weekend. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Stay retro.